The S&P 500, the NASDAQ 100, that's what we're talking about here on the day. Now, we're going to go over the charts and what we're looking at with SPY, but we also have to go on what's happening tomorrow because, again, tomorrow is FOMC. You get your interest rate decision. The market is fully pricing in a 0.25 cut. If we get a 0.5 cut, it could get pretty crazy. But the biggest thing that I want to say right now before we go into the video, before we talk about stocks, the biggest thing heading into tomorrow, okay, and I'll be live here on the channel going over FOMC. But the number one thing you need to be looking for is listening to exactly what Jerome Powell says is the reason for the cut. Because they're going to ask him, has the goalpost moved for the target for inflation? That's the number one thing you need to hear from Jerome Powell tomorrow. And I'll give you my interpretation of whatever he says in the video as well. But again, that's the number one thing I'm looking for because I think that's going to be what moves the market the most. Again, not just the cut. Because we've seen this happen before. I want to be very clear, but we've seen this, the cut getting priced in and then we pump after the, or yields go right back up after they give the cut. Okay. So again, very, very important that we listen to why exactly we're cutting. Again, giving you for instance, we go all the way back to last year to the last time they cut. And remember, like pretty crazy, but the last time they cut was right about there in September of that last year. And again, you went straight up from there. Okay. So very important. I mean, yields obviously still very high and have not dumped as much. But again, we're kind of shaping our way back down towards local lows there on yields. The 10-year yield is way further down right now in comparison to the 30-year, but still has a lot of room to travel. I will say the one really good thing about this is that mortgage rates are already inching back down pretty fast, right? So again, very, very important that we're identifying everything that's happening here and what we're going to be looking for. But again, if you're paying attention to the FOMC call tomorrow, that's what I'd be looking at. Now, we're going to go more into SPY, going more into equities, the hottest plays out there. Because, again, we actually had some decent trades on the day. Nothing insane, but, again, some decent setups nonetheless, okay? Now, before we go too crazy, before we go into all that, I do want to say right now, if you want to see what we're trading and how we're trading, the Discord link is down below. You get our swing trades. You get our intraday setups. Again, technicals. We go over all of our setups. The only trade today that really isn't going to work out is probably going to be Meta. But, again, we had on the day, we had Amazon mentioned, NASDAQ. We had CrowdStrike back to the 50 EMA. We also had Apple this morning on the breakout. Again, the only trade that didn't work out today was Meta. So you get to see all that information. Again, it's all there in Discord for you. You go to our trades and then our watch list every day as well. But again, that's all there for you. The link is down below. Check it out. Now, going into SPY, going into the rest of the market, I want to be really clear. People keep saying, well, what's our target? What's this? What's that? Now, you're in price discovery, okay? Again, the only metric or tool I think that's reliable for price discovery, making or finding a level, and if you don't know what price discovery, it's basically when you're in all-time highs and you're discovering where your new all-time high is going to be, right? So going into this, a lot of people are jumping to, okay, well, our target is 670. Yeah, I'm not going to hypothetically mark out zones. Everything I do here is based off of price action, supply and demand, where have we previously went to, where are we going, and how are we responding. That's how I do everything. So when you get into the area of the unknown, that's definitely the weakness of what I do, okay? So again, that's where we're at right now. We're in that area of the unknown. I will say, though, as long as you're stair-stepping up like this on SPY, right? You go to the daily chart, it's clear as day. You're stair-stepping up, okay? You look really bullish. There's no reason to turn bearish. That's why I've been so bullish over the past few weeks and months. People hated on me, but it is what it is. That's where you're at right now. Now, what we can do, what we can really dissect and analyze is what's moving us right now, okay? Now, SMH, it's funny, like SMH is there at all-time highs, but like here on the daily, as you can see right there, new all-time high once again, and you're just trending up. But NVIDIA is the one SMH or semiconductor that's not really helping you. So NVIDIA is, and it's concerning under 176. This likely fills the gap into 171. Just going to tell you that, right? Now, FOMC might change everything tomorrow, but as of right now, that's where you're at. On the other side of this, though, you look at names like Apple, which we said above 237, easy push into 240. That was the big trade here on the day. I mean, you went straight into like 241. Crazy, okay? Still look really good there on Apple. So, again, you're seeing other parts with tech and the Mag 7 do really well. Google, Google's ready to just break and make a new high. It's a clear ascending triangle here. Like, again, we're just quickly going through these. Like, clear as day, looks incredible. Like, there's no question about it, right? Amazon also looks very good, back above 234, just rallying back up, breaking that lower high structure they had. Still looks really good. All-time highs right there, 242. again, the list just goes on and on and on, like about just how good you're really looking. Microsoft, back on the upside, a little bit of downside here in the day, but ultimately still broke out of that, got into our like resistance of 517, 516, kind of coming back down. Still looks really, really good as well. Tesla holding above 414. As long as you're above 414, you're bullish. Under 414, I think you're bearish, but Tesla breaking back up. And so I'm just going through this list so you can realize like the market still looks outstanding despite some of your bigger semis kind of stagnating or kind of chopping around like NVIDIA, okay? So the market still looks like just, again, ready to break out, and break out. So you still look really, really solid. And again, I like where you're at. I like how you're moving. But again, we want to see if we can break out, get further continuation on the rest of these names. But the real thing that I'm watching for here is NVIDIA. That's what I want to see. Again, I'm fine with NVIDIA getting some pullback here into 171. But when NVIDIA starts finding buyers again, that's when I think you're going to see more upside on NASDAQ and more actual volatility intraday, because it's been a chop fest on Qs in spite of the past few days, okay? Very important to realize. And giving you a better visual of something like VIX as well. Like VIX, we're kind of just chilling down here. It's going to spike into tomorrow, 100%. You're going to see a little bit of a spike around FOMC. But again, we're still just 16, 15. Nothing really crazy going on here. I mean, it's even funny that you're seeing a little bit of a spike on VIX with the way that NASDAQ's moving. Because again, you're really not doing much, right? Now, again, I don't think we need to go through every single stock today. I don't think that's the agenda. I don't think that's going to really get us too far because, again, I'm all for the realization that things are going to drastically change or could drastically change immediately after FOMC. I'm going to go through setups that I'm going to be watching, and I'm going to be showing the upside viewpoint of some of these trades and the downside viewpoint of them, of what I'd be looking for if things go well or things go bad from FOMC. Everything that I'm going to do, though, when it goes through these lists and these stocks will all be dependent on levels breaking. So, like, again, you'll have like a trigger to know to look for this trade or to look for that trade. So quickly go through these. Let's jump through this and as quickly as possible. Now, also, before we go through all these stocks, I want to make this really clear. If you guys are interested in seeing, I trade a lot of futures when it comes to scalping, like in and out. Like if I want to take a bunch of trades throughout the day, it's primarily through futures. My swings, holding a trade overnight, things like that. Even like some of my longer day trades are more with options. But guys, if you want to see where I trade, what I'm using, now I do love my fund. My top 3 has been pretty consistent, but this is pretty big. Now, you guys know when it comes to my platform, I love using Project X for the actual trading. And I'm going to have more education on my second channel starting this coming week. But again, so my fund of futures, as far as affordability, $77. You can't beat this. Even their scale accounts are awesome. But Tradeify finally did it. They finally went to Project X. I have a feeling Tradeify is going to become overnight my favorite platform to use. You can go straight to funded with them, which is the best thing like ever. Again, their 50K accounts are 374, and their consistency rule changes over time. So that's really important to understand. It goes up to 30%, which I think makes them potentially the best straight to funded platform in the game. I mean, that's crazy. You can even do like this is the comparable account to, oh my gosh, Top Step Trader, the 50K growth account. Again, all in, you're paying 102. There is no activation fee. That's also crazy. So again, on Project X, that's what I'd be using. If you have any questions, let me know. But the link's down below. You can have 5 total accounts as well. So check it out. Links there. Now, going into these names, let's start to jump into it. And again, like when you're trading like back and forth and you're getting choppy behavior, like futures are just where it's at. I'm just letting you guys know. But you guys asked me, so I always try to let you guys know as much as possible. Let's jump through this. Number 1, NVIDIA. So NVIDIA, I've been saying, and honestly, I'm a little shocked that today you're not seeing more downside. I thought you really would. Now, when you zoom out, you can see you have a giant gap into 171, essentially, like right there to the tick, right? So underneath 176, I'm very weak on it. You can see once we broke here, you went straight down to like 174.5. If this doesn't hit today, you don't start seeing more aggressive selling, I would be looking for NVIDIA down to 171. I'm going to tell you right now, it just looks likely. As long as you're below 176, that's what I'd be looking for. Okay, next up is Apple. Apple stays above 237, incredibly bullish. You go to the daily chart here, really the higher time frames will save you, but you can see this level here, 237, 237.3. Above that, you look really good. You have a little resistance, little SR flip here at 242 to 241. That's your resistance, but Apple is carrying the market right now. It's really doing the heavy lifting. Like Apple is destroying and is killing, okay? AVGO is doing really well. I'm not going to really focus on any trades here on AVGO. You're holding your previous high of 356. Above that, you look fine. Would I be tracking there? AMD above 159.6, 160, you look fine. I get back below that, I would short it. I think you have drastic downside, at least down to like 156, give or take. So what I'd be looking for there. Palantir, again, we're fast. We're going through these names fast. Palantir, as long as you stay above 169.2, you look bullish. I think Palantir is getting ready to rip into 175 to 176 in a hurry. You look really, really strong here as well. If you go to the hourly, you can clearly see kind of how you're kind of trending here as well. But you're making those higher lows as well as the lower highs, but I still think you're ready to break out here. You start breaking above 171, it's going to rip. Great looking trade there. Tesla. Now, Tesla was one of those trades we had yesterday, and all I really did yesterday on Tesla was wait for us to break 414. We knew it was a big level, and then we really targeted like 408, 410. You went deeper down to 404. But now you're pushing back up, and you reclaimed 414. You can see we kind of chopped there, then got back up. Tesla's looking to rip, guys. You know, above 400, this is a really, really strong name. I mean, honestly, I'm looking towards 440 now. Tesla looks a lot of momentum, right? We knew when we broke out the pennant above the 200 SMA, it was looking really good. So, again, this is what you're waiting for. This is what you're looking for. Meta's finally getting the action here at the end of the day. If you're in Discord, you're like thanking God. This was the last trade that we were really going to trade here on the day. Meta above 771 is the level that I've really like hammered home and mentioned so much here. But again, you're back above 771, and then now you're getting above 774, which was your high from Monday, yesterday. So again, breaking back above that, you look really good. You have room to like 780, 783. Meta's been a beast. We just need NASDAQ to help you. You need the rest of the market to get going, right? And you're seeing the rest of the Mag 7 get strength, Microsoft included, right? So important to see. You look really, really good. Another name out there is TSM. I'm not going to trade TSM because I traded it on this breakout. We talked a lot about it. But you still look really good. Higher lows, you're holding your highs. Like semis still look really good. There's a handful of semis that are just kind of stuck in the mud, like NVIDIA and AVGO right now. But as a whole, semis are incredible right now. That being said, another one I mentioned yesterday was AMAT, right? Above set 171, you're looking for the push into 176, 175. You're getting closer and closer. You look really, I mentioned this in Discord as well. I didn't trade it, but one of the call-outs that we had there as well. Looks phenomenal, okay? Another big name is CrowdStrike. I think cloud names as a whole aren't really being focused on. I think they're one of the bigger deals out there in the market. I'd be watching CrowdStrike like a hawk, okay? So all day yesterday and really today as well, you've rejected your 200 or your 50 MA. You're trying to mount it here at the end of the day. If you hold above the 200 or the 50 MA, which is at 446, 445 into tomorrow, I'm looking for a push to 455 to 456. That's your previous all-time high. That was really key before. Remember, we mounted above and we had so many trades off that. Getting back, you're going to test that level, and it's a high percent that we test that level. Okay. Another trade I'm really liking as well. There again, there's a hand. This is the really good opportunity. This is why I like when you get some of this choppiness and you go into a big day like FOMC, is you have a lot of things you can really be looking for, okay? And so when you get some chop like we've had over the past few days, it does start to set up for some really nice trades, okay? So Netflix came down to like 1180. We traded this last week in Discord. We mentioned all this, right? Now you're pushing back up. You're holding at 1200. I love where Netflix is. I really, really do. If Netflix can stay above 1200, you're going to work back into the 50 MA. This is a trade all on its own for a scalp, just right back into 1215, 1218. Now, if you mount back above 1218, 1220, wherever your 50 MA is going into tomorrow, I think this goes back into 1230 with ease. I think you get back into 1250, 1245, then 1260. I think it's just a great looking trade. Netflix also moves very fast, which means good volatility. The options move very well. So, again, something I would be looking at and focus on. Don't fall in love with the trade, though. If you start flipping 1200, like, obviously, you just got to take the L. But, again, one of those, I love it. I love where it's at. I love how it's moving. I think it's going to be a great, great overall name. Again, I want to quickly go into IWM and what's happening there. IWM still looks fantastic. Above 12, I think, like 225, 227. Yeah, 227. That's a big level down here. You're pretty bullish overall. Again, you haven't hit all-time highs yet on IWM, but you're definitely working your way back up there. I still think mid-caps look great. Okay, I'm going to tell you that as well. I would love to see a dip. If we get a dip, cool. If we don't, it is what it is. But I still think the market as a whole looks good. I think it's a risk-on environment. There's not a lot of cheap mid caps I'm looking at right now. Previously, Hims at the 200 SMA was a money play. I almost said money shot. Your 50 MA is interesting here, worth a look, but I'm not buying it at this point. Oscar still. I would love to see Oscar back near $15, $14. I'll probably buy more, to be totally honest. Upstart, I mentioned this a few days ago at the 200 SMA. You're bouncing. You look really good. Maybe back towards 70, 71. But again, you're still already $4 or $5 off of that, previous support. So important to understand that. ARM bounce off of 150 again. Still looks really solid there as well. I'm trying to get more mid caps back in the arsenal for you guys. Honestly, mid caps are some of our biggest trades over this past quarter. So I definitely think the opportunity is there, especially with the way IWM being here makes me excited as well. So expect me to get a little bit more risk on, right? Expect a little bit more videos coming out soon too about mid caps, because again, I do think there's a lot of opportunity out there. And if you guys know anything, I love striking when the iron's hot and when there's big opportunity out there. So guys, again, I'll see you tomorrow. Have a good one, traders. Miles is going crazy. Again, see you guys. Have a good one.